Good morning, everybody. We are here today learning our maamarim. We are up to the second maamar, Ais Vav. So yesterday's share, we reviewed most of the maamar very quickly, or all of the maamar that we were up to very, very quickly. And now we're going to move forward into Ais Vav. I want to give a heads up that there's a lot of Kabbalah and Chassidus deep concepts in this particular section. It will get clarified as the maamar continues. So, but I do want to make sure, I want to try my hardest to make sure that I can make it as clear as possible and as understandable as possible. So we're going to give this a shot. Fresh morning to learn Chassidus. Let's do it. Okay, so as we explained above, or before this, that we had to prepare the world, and we had to prepare ourselves. And we also discussed the whole piece about loving Hashem with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our might. And I already said bracha. And visitors. And now we're going to discuss the compare and contrast, so to speak, between Kriyas Yamsuf that happened then, and the future, whatever is the equivalent of it that's going to happen when Mashiach comes. So we're going to discuss it, and we're going to get into it. So let's start. We're on page 92. We are up to Ais Vav, the 6th chapter, and here we go. Okay, higher than Exodus. The future redemption will also feature the concept of splitting of the Sea of Reeds, of Kriyas Yamsuf. However, the revelation it represents will be much greater than the revelation experienced at the splitting of the Sea of Reeds, although then too Hashem revealed a level beyond Seder Ishtalshelus, allowing the sea to transform to dry land as explained above, right? So what we said earlier, the difference between sea is that they are connected. Everything in the sea is connected to its source, and dry land are things that don't feel connected to their source. And so even at what's going to happen when Mashiach comes will be even higher than Kriyas Yamsuf. Even though at Kriyas Yamsuf we even split to a level that's even higher than Seder Ishtalshelus. Like we went to a level beyond Seder Ishtalshelus, right? So Seder Ishtalshelus is this level of step-by-step recreation, or like contraction, kind of, that it's able to create something lower than itself. So what happened is Kriyas Yamsuf, as we said earlier, is that it split all the way through the entire kav, the entire Seder Ishtalshelus. But when Mashiach comes, what's going to happen is going to be even greater than that, okay? To understand this, we must first explain the divine level that was revealed at the splitting of the Sea of Reeds, okay? During the night of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be He, revealed Himself before the Yidden in all His glory and essence. That's what it says, okay? In the series of maamarim titled B'Sha'a Shehikdimu in 5672, Reb Shalom Dov Ber, the Rebbe Rashab, the 5th Lubavitcher Rebbe, explains that His glory, the word His glory, refers to the level of Malchus of Ein Sof, and while His essence refers to Atzmos Ein Sof. We're gonna get into it, okay? But I'm gonna read ahead, and then we're gonna go back to explain. Nonetheless, these lofty levels were revealed via Malchus. This is hinted in the pasuk. Hashem will pass over the doorway, as the word doorway represents Malchus. In the same vein, the pasuk states, and Hashem struck every firstborn in the land of Egypt. The word and signifies that Hashem was joined by His heavenly court. By contrast, When Hashem split the Sea of Reeds, every concealed level was revealed, including a level beyond the primordial sea. The primordial sea is representative of Chachma and is somewhat associated with Malchus. However, at the splitting of the Sea of Reeds, a concealed level even higher than that was revealed. This is the meaning of the Pasuk. On that day, living waters will emerge from Jerusalem. Half of them will flow to the eastern sea. This denotes a level that is even higher than the primordial sea. Okay, so that is a lot that we just got into. So let's take a moment to go back and process what we just said. So in essence, okay, so we're bringing up this concept that at Yetzias Mitzrayim, Hashem himself, and nothing else, it says, we said it actually in the Haggadah, no seraph, and no this type of malach, and no this type of thing. Hashem himself came and he took us out, right? So it says that Hashem himself, the Holy One, blessed be he, revealed himself before the Yidden in all his glory and essence. So there's a question, an unspoken question, which is, what's the difference between glory and essence, right? So the Rebbe Rashab explains that the word his glory represents the Malchus of Ein Sof, which kind of doesn't seem to make sense, because the word Ein Sof means that it's a level which is beyond separation. There is no part of Ein Sof that has a piece that's called Malchus, right? Ein Sof means without end, without beginning, without end. There is nothing separate within it. So how can we have a level of Malchus of Ein Sof, right? Not only that, but it says his essence refers to Atzmos, Atzmos Ein Sof. So again, how can Atzmos exist within Ein Sof? So to explain this, we have to understand that Malchus is a connector piece. Malchus is kind of like for lack of better example, Malchus is kind of like the charger, like when you have a charger, right? So you have to connect you have this great infinite power called electricity, which is running through the wires of your house. And somehow you have to get this electricity into your teeny tiny little phone. So we have to get a funnel to pass that hugeness into something that is receivable. So here we're saying that at Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Eibusher gave this hugeness, he himself in all of his glory, right, came through and saved the Jewish people. But Hashem had to do it through the level of Malchus. He had to use this level of connecting, of the connector piece to be able to relate to human beings. So how do you take Ein Sof, which is without bli gvul, there's no beginning, no end. It is just Hashem himself. And how do you make him relate, so to speak, to the Yidden as he's taking them out of Mitzrayim? He does it through this level of Malchus. And so therefore, the level that his glory refers to the level of Malchus of Ein Sof. And his essence refers to Atzmos Ein Sof. So let's give a moment. Hold on. Which literally means infinite essence. Accordingly, at the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Yidden experienced a revelation of Malchus of Ein Sof, and furthermore, a revelation of Hashem's infinite essence. Right? So when leaving Mitzrayim, not only did Hashem do it through this funnel of Malchus, he the Ein Sof. So we're not saying that the Malchus aspect of it, but the Ein Sof actually came down. It just had to be funneled, so to speak, through the level of Malchus. And so too, it was quote unquote funneled through the level of Atzmos. So even though it had to be funneled for us to receive it, how much more so we still receive this level of Atzmos, this level of like Hashem's actual essence. And we were able to feel it, and we were able to feel that, to be present with that revelation during that time. right? Nonetheless, as it says in the next paragraph, nonetheless, these lofty levels were revealed via Malchus, right? As we said before, that even all this high stuff had to go through that funnel of Malchus. As it is hinted in the Pesach, Hashem will pass over the doorway, right? So what does a doorway do? A doorway allows you to go in or out, right? So a doorway is also, in a certain sense, a funnel between whatever room you're currently in and whatever room you're going into, or from whatever room you're exiting from into whatever room you're going into. So the concept of a doorway is also representative to a certain extent of a funnel, of a malchus, of a channel between two separate things, which is malchus. So for example, to give a great example from Lachadaidi, right? The essence of a child before it is born is a very separate thing than once it goes through the mother's womb, and then it goes through malchus, and it gets, it goes through that funnel to be able to come out into a physical child, which is now, crying next to you, right? So there's that level of malchus is always a certain level of a funnel that takes something and transforms it into something else, or takes it into something else. So even Hashem's infinite level, which he himself came into Mitzrayim and took us out himself, he did it through a level of malchus, that way he was able to relate to a finite world and take finite Yidden out of a finite Mitzrayim, okay? But all of this, even through, nevertheless, everything that happened then was still done through a level of malchus, as opposed to, and then we'll see. Sorry, I jumped over there. Door represents malchus. In the same vein, the pasuk states, and the word "and" God struck every firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim. The word "and" signifies that Hashem was joined by his heavenly court. By contrast, right? So Hashem, even though Hashem himself came, he did it through the level of Malchus, and he was also joined by a heavenly court. Meanwhile, by contrast, when Hashem split the Sea of Reeds, every concealed level was revealed, including a level beyond the primordial sea. So what does this mean, the primordial sea? One second, where is that footnote? Sorry, I lost the footnote I wanted to read. Sorry, because it says here to go back. Okay, so it says, from the Kabbalistic perspective, this ocean is representative of the earliest and higher levels of the ocean in a spiritual sense, namely the extremely high degree of Hashem's light that is beyond the entire Seder Shtalshus, or order of existence, right? So primordial sea is this level which is even above. So for example, that's why I said I gave you guys a heads up. Today we have a lot of Kabbalah and deep stuff. Okay, so if you have Seder Shtalshus, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 worlds, and within each of them you have all the levels. So be above that, beyond that, and again, I'm making physical things that are not representative of, because it's not actually in space like that, but just for us to be able to visualize it, right? So you have this kav, you have this concept of Seder Shtalshus that goes down, right? That then creates us. Above that, there's something even greater that can't be separated into separate entities. Just like an ocean is vast, you can't just cut it and split it and slice it, so to speak, into separate beings. So too, so to speak, is this level of primordial sea, which is above and beyond Seder Shtalshus. And that, in a certain sense, is kind of what feeds into Seder Shtalshus. So what we said here is that by contrast, when Hashem, meaning by contrast, in comparison to Yetzias Mitzrayim, Hashem had to use the level, Hashem came himself, had to use the level of Malchus and brought his heavenly court with him. In comparison, by Kriyas Yam Suf, it says here that every concealed level was revealed, including a level beyond the primordial sea. Like, how is that even possible? I don't know, but the Avishar manages. So we went above and beyond this whole level of primordial sea, which is representative of Chachma. And again, we're looking at it, Chachma, from a different perspective, because technically Chachma is one of the pieces that is a separate slice. But if you look at it from a Chassidic perspective, from like a Kabbalistic perspective, you could also see it from a different viewpoint, which is that Chachma is this aspect that has no limitations. It has no constraints on it. So as it says, the more you know that you don't know, right? So the more you learn, the more you realize that there is more to learn. So it's kind of like getting, like when you get a taste, you get a tiny little cup and you dip it into a ginormous lake. I wouldn't say ocean, because ocean has the salt water. You wouldn't want to drink that. But I'm saying if you dip it into a ginormous lake of like, regular sweet water, and you just take one drink, and then you look around at this ginormous body of water, and you're like, wow, I ingested one tiny little bit, but the amount that's out there is just ginormous. It's huge. And if I take, cup, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to actually take in the whole thing. I mean, it's basically impossible. But so too with Chachma, this whole level of knowledge and understanding. The more that you get a taste of something, the more you realize, whoa, there is so much more I don't even understand. To give a lahavdil an example, but we got for Leivik, we got him a little remote helicopter, which is hilarious because we forgot to check the age limit, and it was meant to be for 14-year-olds, and he flies it like a pro for his manishtana. So anyway, so we got it for him, and a few years ago, I'm a curious George, so I decided I got curious, and I looked up, how does a helicopter work? And because of that knowledge, it was pretty crazy, because I was like, wow, this is like, I ended up kind of taking like not really a course, but kind of like a several part course on how helicopters fly. Anyways, this is random. But my point is that because of that, the moment his helicopter started, wibbling and wobbling or whatever, I was able to do a search online to say, okay, how do I fix this helicopter because of the certain, the way that the wings are turning, and it's just, so I got a teeny tiny taste, and because of that tiny taste, once I got to see something in my world that was related to how a helicopter functions, I was able to use that taste to be able to get the full knowledge. And I mean, even now I don't have the full knowledge of how a helicopter works, but it gave me the ability to then dip my toes back into that water and try and figure out how to get his helicopter to fly straight, as opposed to the wibbly wobbly thing that it's doing now. Anyway, so this level of Chachma, this level which is above Seder Shalshos, this level which is the primordial sea, so to speak, that level was to a certain extent revealed during Kriyas Yam Suf. So we're able to see how amazing Yetzias Mitzrayim was by the fact that Hashem himself came and took us out, but he did it through the level of Malchus. He used the funnel of Malchus to be able to relate to us in this world. Meanwhile, in Kriyas Yam Suf, this whole thing split to the point that we even got to split all the way to this level, which is above and beyond Seder Shalshos, which is the primordial sea, which is Chachma, this great, huge vastness of the Eibishter. And we got to that point during Kriyas Yam Suf, right? Let me see how we're doing. Oh, okay. Let me. Okay. Okay. if you guys don't mind, I just want to, I don't want to leave off in this like, war. I want to take one step, move forward. If you guys will give me like 2-3 more minutes, and I want to leave off in a more grounded part of the Maamar. Okay. For all to see, page 96. In light of the above, we can understand the statements of our sages cited by Rashi in his Torah commentary on the Pasuk. This is my God, and I will beautify him. A maidservant at the sea envisioned what the greatest prophet was unable to envision. Each person was able to point with his finger, their finger, and say, this is my God, and I will beautify him. In the statements these statements underline two unique aspects of the revelation that took place when Hashem split the Sea of Reeds. Number one, the revelation was experienced by everyone, even a maidservant, right? So this happens, this whole level of primordial sea being split, and we got such a huge revelation, was experienced, number one, by everyone, every single person, even the maidservant. And number two, the revelation was experienced in a tangible way. They were able to point at Hashem with their actual finger, because each person, even a maidservant, saw him with their physical eyes. The reason for this is because at the time, a level of concealment beyond division, remember how we said Malchus is a funnel? So above, on the top level, Malchus is the funnel that funnels this Seder Stalshlus to revealed, not revealed, but I'm saying two physical things. So from primordial sea, this like huge vastness of Ein Sof, into Seder Stalshlus, there's another funnel, and that's why when we count spheres, we either count Malchus or Kesser, depending which one's where. But Kesser, this level of crown that's above Seder Stalshlus, is also a funnel, which funnels from that level into Seder Stalshlus. So for this reason, because at this time, a level of concealment beyond divisions, which is Kesser, was revealed. This took place on the 7th day of Pesach, the 7th day after Yetzias Mitzrayim, and our sages teach us that all 7th entities are precious. This is also the deeper meaning of the Pasuk. The angel of Hashem that would usually go before the Jewish camp traveled behind them. Beforehand, the angel was higher than the souls of the Yidden. However, at the splitting of the sea, the Jews ascended to a level of Kesser, reaching a plane where they are even higher than this angel, right? So angels are sourced in Seder Stalshlus. And when Kriyas Yamsuf happened, as we said earlier, which the purpose of Kriyas Yamsuf was essentially for us, when Kriyas Yamsuf happened, it took the souls of the Yidden and it brought them even above Seder Stalshlus. So the angel had to walk behind us because our soul was so much higher, was loftier than the angel's source where they exist. This is also page 100. This is also the deeper meaning of the Pasuk. He hurled Rama in Hebrew, the horse and its rider, into the ocean. As explained in Torah, or that the word Rama can be interpreted in two ways. It can mean lift, and it can also mean hurl, like to throw. These two explanations reflect the spiritual effects of the splitting of the sea, as explained above. The Jews' souls ascended; they were lifted to a lofty level, as the level of Kesser, that is beyond division. That is beyond divisions was revealed, right? Because we were lifted, we were able to get a taste. We got a revelation of Kesser. And at the same time, the great revelation descended into the lower realms. So not only did we pick us up, remember we said that there's two parts to Kriyas Yamsuf, what it did to the world and what it did to the Jews. So what it did to the Jews is that it lifted us, it revealed, it got us a taste of Kesser, which lifted our neshamas. And at the same time, that revelation, that spirituality was able to be hurled down through all Seder Stalshlus. That way the world was able to receive Kedusha in a revealed way. Okay, so I hope that was clear. And now I hope you guys can understand why this share was a bit harder to teach. But I hope I made it relatable how amazing Kriyas Yamsuf was, that it did this aspect of picking us up and lifting us, and at the same time it did this aspect of bringing down the Kedusha to permeate the world, which again goes back to the part about the Maamar that we said that that Kriyas Yamsuf was done for us. It was done for the world and it was done for the Yidden. And from here, we'll continue on tomorrow, Be'ezras Hashem, on the revelation of the future. That's what happened at Kriyas Yamsuf. Get excited and get ready for tomorrow. We will discuss what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. Have a wonderful day, everybody.